New whiskeys added to the collection, including a bottle that you might not have heard of. That time of year, there's just whiskey flowing. It's just the fourth quarter of the year going into it. There's just so much whiskey coming out, and there's so many products that are being released by different distilleries and different things being picked up. And of course, you can't have them all. That's the hard part. You got to have some type of control and try to figure out which ones that you want to take that chance on or want to try. For me, I'm in a space where I'm luckily able to try some things that are sent to me, and so I don't necessarily need to blow my entire bourbon budget all the time. There's things that I can actually try without spending money, and that's fantastic. And I really do appreciate those brands sending me those things to let me try. Some things are not even available in Indiana, so for me to be able to try something that's not even here, it's great. And it allows me a chance to kind of just further explore that whiskey and not just keep buying all the same things over and over again. Speaking of buying the same bottle over and over again, number one is Larceny Barrel Proof. This is batch C924. So for those that are not familiar, you have Elijah Craig and Larceny, both products of Heaven Hill. And what they do is they actually release the barrel proof versions, which just means it's not watered down, and they release those 3 times a year. The A batch, the B batch, the C batch. When you see A1 24, B5 24, or C9 24, that's just referring to the third batch, the second batch, the first batch, and then the 1 or the 5 or the 9 would be the month basically that it's supposed to come out. So even though I didn't really find this until October, this is the 9 batch, September, right? So Larceny Barrel Proof is actually one that I have been with from the beginning. I have the first batch, and I think I probably have bought every one in between, and it's one that I've seen grow. It was exciting, it was new, it was a new product, and just kind of gave Larceny, in my opinion, a little bit more character and a little bit more there to play with. As the batches have come out and have been released, I just feel like it's one of these that has gotten better and better. From everything I've heard about this C924, this might be one of the best batches that's been released. I'm a big fan of, okay, I'll take your opinion into consideration, but I still need to try for myself. And I've mentioned this before in other videos, but when I review whiskey, especially those that are hyped up or even overhyped, I'm even more critical of those whiskeys, and they have to be able to wow me in order for me to rate them that high. I try not to just get on a bandwagon just to do it, but with all the talk that this bottle is getting, it might be worth it. Their batch last year, C923, was fantastic, but I don't feel like you can go wrong. Of course, when you line up different batches, you're going to have different preferences, and this one might be better than this one to you. But overall, these are still good whiskeys, and I just don't think you can go wrong with any of the batches. There's nothing like it's terrible whiskey, but I think we just get so caught up in individual batches. That being said, I can't wait to actually look at this individual batch and review it soon. Number 2, Jim Beam Winter Reserve. Here's one that's new to the market. This is a new product. They say it's a limited release or limited edition. You know, again, you're Jim Beam, right? So how limited is this? Jim Beam's limited is, I don't know. It still might be available in a lot of places. I just don't know which states or how they released it or anything like that. This is almost like their toasted spin on Jim Beam. So it is finished in a toasted barrel. It wasn't that expensive. It's a cheaper bottle. I don't really go into this one with high expectations. I really think this might be one that just Jim Beam bourbon toasted. So it's an elevated version of that maybe. That's kind of where I'm at with that. I don't look at this to be whiskey of the year. I don't look at this to be the best thing I've ever had. Going into this, assuming that toasted process is going to enhance what was already there, which is a pretty good bourbon, and provide a great value for somebody who's only wanting to spend $20-something on a bottle of bourbon. All right, number 3, Blue Note Juke Joint Uncut, Unfiltered Bourbon. There we go. We got it all. It's distilled in Kentucky, and then I believe it's then aged in Memphis. I'm finally on board with it. There's been so much talk about these bottles. I have not gotten a chance to try them yet, and I've heard a lot of good things about this specific one. So I would like to probably start here and just kind of see, is this the highest that it gets? And then maybe try some of their other offerings. Again, when things get overhyped, I try to just go the other direction. I try not to go into it. And maybe it's something I don't care for, but explain why I don't care for it, rather than just say it's not good, because that's rarely the case. There's a lot of whiskeys I don't prefer. There's not that many whiskeys that I've had that are actually bad whiskey. So always keep that in mind. All right, number 4, or 4, 5, 6, 7, however you want to look at it. I actually reached out to Backbone recently and just told them that there are several products that I'm very interested in from them. There are certain ones that I've tried that I really enjoy, but I would love to just explore them a little bit more. And their story, to my knowledge, at least, is that they are sourcing as well from MGP, but this brand has been around for quite a while. The bottles that I have had, I have enjoyed, but I just want to get to know them a little bit more and try a few more of their products. And I just don't feel like their name really gets put out there as much as I feel like they should. So I'm just curious, is it other products? Like, are people trying other things and they just don't care for them? Because every product I've had from them has been very good. So I wanted to see it for myself myself. So I reached out to the distillery. They actually sent me these to sample so I can try a variety of things and just see what my thoughts are on their whiskey. But you know, sometimes within the whiskey world, there's just certain bottles that just catch on and everybody wants to talk about them. And there's others that kind of fly under the radar. And I'm wondering if this brand is one that flies under the radar. Some people know about it, some people talk about it, but I feel like not nearly enough. All right, and the last bottle, this one was also sent to me. This says Edmund's Honor. This actually was sent to me from a really good friend of mine, Tracy Franklin, who's in the industry doing amazing things. I look up to her and she is very inspiring. I want to be like her when I grow up. Spirited Tracy on Instagram. If you're not following her, you need to be following her right now. Stop watching my video and go follow her. She's just somebody that's very inspiring. We've had a chance to have some great conversations. She's very welcoming, and just as much as she's done already in this industry, and I know she still has so much more to do, she takes the time, or has taken the time in the past, to have these conversations with me and just kind of help me navigate this industry a little bit more. And like I said, very welcoming, always very friendly every time I talk to her. So thank you, Tracy and Edmund's Honor, for sending me this bottle. Tracy is the master blender now for Edmund's Honor. And so after talking with her, she sent me this bottle, and I am really looking forward to trying this. This seems very unique to me. So I just literally got this in the mail today. So I am still doing my research on it, but from the little that I do know about this bottle, I do know that it's a straight bourbon finished in cognac barrels. And so to take that bourbon, finish it in cognac, and have that vanilla, I'm sure it's probably going to lean more towards like a dessert type of bourbon, something a little bit sweeter. And I always think of bottles that not only that I can enjoy, but what are bottles that I can find as entry points to get other people into whiskey. And a few months ago, when I did a Bourbon 101 class, there was somebody in that class that enjoyed cognac. And I've talked about this in other videos where I'm trying to figure out different ways to get that person in. They tell me what they like, and they may not like other bourbons. They may have tried Wild Turkey 101 and 1792 and Buffalo Trace and all these things, but they don't like those things, but they do know they like cognac. Well, a cognac finished bourbon might be a good place to start. So I try to think of different ways to get somebody interested in things. My wife, for example, loves red wine. The first few bottles that I bought for her were red wine finished whiskeys. And then after a while, she just started learning about more bourbon, and obviously I started collecting more. And so she was able to try more and really figure out what she liked. And now she rarely goes to those red wine finished whiskeys anymore, but that's where she started. So it was an entry point for her. So not every single finished bourbon or anything like that is bad. There's a time and a place for everything, and I think that we can sit back and enjoy whiskey for what it is. And I just love the fact that we are exploring different things, and in my opinion, really just scratching the surface right now. Scotch has done an amazing job with finishes and just kind of incorporating that in the culture. And for whatever reason, in the American whiskey industry, it doesn't seem to be that way. We're kind of, sometimes finishing can be looked at as a bad thing. I don't look at it as a bad thing. I think it can be done poorly, but I don't look at the process itself as a bad thing. A whole nother video on that topic one day, but right now, I just want to say thank you to Tracy and Untold Spirits for sending me this bottle. I cannot wait to explore it and find out more about the brand. Thank you so much, as always, for all the support and all the love you all give. Thanks for all the comments, all the likes, all the subscribes, all the things you all do. It means the world to me to have that type of support. And if you're going to support me here, you might as well support me on Patreon. There's a link down in the description. All of my whiskey reviews are on there. All of my blog posts are on there. All of my exclusive content is all over there. Some of that content is available to everybody. So even if it's just a free member and you're not paying anything, that's fine. I'll still make some content available to you there as well. For paid members, there is additional content as well. Either way, I appreciate all the support. Thank you all for everything. I'm happy to have these bottles in the collection now. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.